What is up, guys? It's your boy Steve here, back with part 2 of the tactical analysis and breakdown of my very own back attack tactic. Before I start, I just wanted to thank everyone in the FM community who has supported the video so far, the first video that is. As by the time you are hearing this and watching this video, it will have hit 1,000 views, guys, so I really appreciate your support on that one, and please do continue to support the channel. So in this video, we will be covering the latest stats from the save I shared with you in video 1 with Manouza Academy on the Azerbaijan database. I'd then like to share my progress with Le Havre in France with you guys, before we then move on to some player instructions, attributes and desirable traits to look for in players. Then I'll also throw in some player suggestions of my own based on my own experiences across various saves on FM20. We'll then move on to some in-game tactical tweaks that you guys might want to make if things aren't quite going to plan, which obviously can happen. Finally, we'll round up with some success stories from those of you in the community that have decided to give the tactic a try, and we'll be delving into some of those stories in quite a bit of depth, and we'll see how you guys got on. I know that the question all of you guys are wanting to ask is, did we manage to win the Champions League with Manouza using this tactic? And in fact, did we manage to do the League and Champions League double using this tactic? Well, I'm delighted to confirm we did both. We managed to sneak a 1-0 win in the Champions League final against Liverpool, of all teams. A Liverpool side that included none other than Kylian Mbappe, by the way. It was a very tightly fought contest, but we just about edged it and kept a clean sheet, which I was astounded by. I could not believe how well we defended in that game, because there were parts of it where we were on the ropes, I can tell you that. Throughout the course of the league season, we managed to maintain our average of 2.4 goals per game. We actually defended better though. We've actually brought down our goals conceded per game to 0.75 now, which is an improvement from the last time I shared the stats with you. We've maintained our 75% win percentage, scoring, or achieving rather, 2.4 points per game, which is again in line with what we were achieving before, hence why we managed to win our third title, I suppose. In terms of final season numbers, goals scored and conceded, as you can see, guys, we scored 79 goals in the league last season in 34 games and conceded only 14, which brings our goals conceded coefficient down to 0.41 goals per game conceded, which is phenomenal. As we can see here then, by securing the Champions League title, the league title, and one of the domestic cup competitions, we did in fact complete the infamous treble, which I was really happy to do, as it was the main goal for this save. So back when I decided to bring this tactic to you guys in the community, I knew you'd have some questions for me, which is, great, because it shows me that you're interested in the tactic and what I have to say about it. But one of the questions I got asked a lot, particularly at the very start, was, is this tactic for elite teams only, or can it be used with lower league sides also? I'm particularly interested in managing lower league sides, and I know that there's a huge number of you guys out in the community that like doing the same. So it's quite an important question, really. Use the tactic with whichever team you like, with the right tweaks and the right recruitment in game. I'm almost certain you can make it work with any team at all. So personally, I really wanted to try it out with Le Havre in the French second tier, due to their rich history of producing top young players. I've been wanting to share this with you for quite a while now, so I'm pleased that I'm actually able to do that. So in our very first season, we were anticipated to finish mid-table in the French second division. We actually were promoted as champions in that season, which was a fantastic achievement. Our second season on the save was our very first in the French top flight, and we finished 5th and also won the French Cup, which I was really pleased with. We beat some very big sides on the way to doing that, including PSG and Lyon. So I was thrilled to bring that trophy home, really. That obviously brought with it European competition by way of the Europa League, which made our third season, our second in the French top flight, quite difficult. So we actually only managed to maintain a 5th place finish and make it through to the second knockout round of the Europa League, maybe the quarters, which I wasn't over the moon with, but all things considered, bearing in mind the budget and whatnot, I think it was still a solid performance from the guys. So let's unpack some of these individual roles within the team in some detail then, guys. Starting with the sweeper keeper position, which as standard within the back attack comes on a defend duty. As you can see here, there are no specific instructions that I've set. Obviously you guys can tweak that in game if you wish. But generally speaking, what we're looking for here is a player who is very comfortable in 1v1 situations and comfortable with the ball at their feet really, with strong distribution. Some of the key attributes that I look for in a sweeper keeper are 1v1s, rushing out of goal tendency, composure, vision, throw-in, kick-in, passing, anticipation, decisions and reflexes. Now obviously there are some more basic goalkeeping attributes that you should be looking for, but they're some of the ones that I look for in addition to some of those more straightforward ones. A nice little trait that you can train your keeper to pick up is the uses long throw to start counter attacks trait, which I find is very, very useful for turning the opposition around very quickly. After our keeper makes a save and retains the ball, he's able to pick out one of our own players very, very swiftly to get us playing the other way. In terms of sweeper keepers, players that I've come across that fit the role particularly well are Martin van der Voort, Dominik Livakovic and Christian Fruchtel. Any of those guys will perform the sweeper keeper role very well for you and will grow into particularly good players. So I'd keep an eye out for those guys. Moving on now to our ball playing defenders, our centre backs within the team. As you can see here, the instructions are for these defenders to take more risks than a usual centre back would and to hold their position, which is more straightforward. Now, obviously, continue to look for your standard defensive attributes within the game, because our defenders will need those, of course. But in addition to those, some key attributes that I've found to be particularly useful are composure, decisions, passing, technique, and vision. Essentially, our defenders are being asked to participate in play a bit more than standard centre backs would, and therefore they need to be very competent with the ball at their feet and able to pick a pass out really and get us playing. Some players that I've come across in my own saves include Abdullah Bar, Ben Godfrey, Eric Garcia, Marco Kana, and Zeno van Hoosden. Now, I believe that any of these guys would do a very good job for you, depending on which team you are managing, obviously. But do look out for those, because a few of them, particularly the younger ones, such as Abdullah Bar and Marco Kana, they develop into really, really good players and actually are really versatile as well and could double up as a halfback, which I'll come on to in a little while. So let's look at the wing-back roles now, guys. First of all, it's worth mentioning that your wing-backs in this system are going to have to be very athletic players, so look out for attributes such as work rate, natural fitness and stamina first of all. In addition to that, you're going to want to look at wing-backs that have very good technique, passing, crossing, vision, decisions and teamwork. And that's because essentially a lot of our creativity is going to come from the wide areas, so we need our wing backs to be very technical if possible, so that they're picking the right ball at the right time, whether that's a cross or a pass to another teammate. We're looking for these guys to chip in with 10 to 15 assists a season really on both sides. Now the actual instructions are identical in terms of right and left hand side. As you can see here, we're looking for our wing backs to cross more often, shoot less often, stay wider and attack. Essentially our wing backs are on attack. Some of the traits I found to be particularly useful are hugs line, runs with ball down right or left depending on the wing that they are operating on, knocks ball past opponent, which helps them get across into the box if they can beat their man, and looks for the pass rather than the shot. And that's because your wing backs will find themselves extremely high up the pitch, and essentially unless you have a wing back that's very good at finishing, you're going to want them to pass the ball in order to assist the teammate who's in a better position to score. Regarding player recommendations then, guys, some of the guys I've come across have been Borna Sosa, Kylian Sardella, Nico Williams, and Ryan Aït-Nouri. There's a couple of recommendations on each side for you there, guys. As I've said before, guys, the halfback role is vital to the success of the back attack tactic. And even though it says here that the halfback is only available on a defend duty, they do an awful lot more than just defend. So even though the instructions here that you can see are quite basic, so just dribble less and hold position, the trick here is really in the attributes of the halfback that you choose and some of the traits they have. We're looking for a player that has very good positioning, vision, anticipation, composure, technique, decisions, and off the ball attributes, and that's in addition to your usual tackling and passing attributes. So have a look at some players that have all of those if you can. In terms of traits then, we're looking for someone who can come deep to get the ball, looks for the pass rather than attempting to score, tries killer through balls often, and dictates the tempo. And that's because essentially the halfback will be the primary playmaker in the team. Everything will go through him, and he needs to be able to get the ball moving through the defensive third into the middle and attacking thirds respectively as quickly as possible, with plenty of tempo to catch the opposition essentially in transition, so that we can work a goal scoring opportunity before they get set. Regarding player recommendations then, there's a bit of overlap here. I've mentioned some of these names before. You're looking for players such as Abdullah Bar, Boubacar Soumaré, Eduardo Camavinga, and Marco Kana, depending on the budget of the team that you guys have decided to manage, of course. The deep line playmaker is on a support duty in this system, and his instructions are to take more risks, shoot less often, and hold his position. Now, of the two midfield players, your deep line playmaker needs to be more competent defensively than your advanced playmaker. And some of the key attributes to look for in this player would be technique, passing, vision, decisions, teamwork, composure, concentration, first touch. And I'd also say off the ball attribute as well is very important. Like I said, your deep line playmaker needs to be the more competent defender, and so attributes such as tackling, etc., some of your normal defensive attributes, are also desirable. It's important to mention as well that this deep line playmaker is going to be responsible for keeping the team ticking over, switching the ball side to side, looking for an opening down one of the wings, and dictating the overall tempo of play, really. So just bear that in mind when you're picking your player. Some of the traits that help him do that then would be tries killer through balls often, plays 1-2s, dictates tempo, tries long range passes, and likes to switch the ball to the other flank. Regarding player recommendations then, guys, some of the players I've come across that perform this role very well would be Boubacar Soumaré, Charles de Ketelaere, Dalen Meda, Eduardo Camavinga, and Fran Beltran. The second role that makes up our midfield then is the advanced playmaker, also on a support duty within this system. They're instructed to take more risks and shoot less often, although shooting less often doesn't mean I don't want him to shoot at all. It just means be a bit more picky with regards to long shots and look for a through ball first, but we'll come on to that. Now, some of the attributes that I think are really important, again, there's a lot of overlap here with the deep line playmaker. So we're looking for technique, passing, vision, decisions, teamwork, composure, concentration, and first touch. But also I'd throw in some attributes such as long shots, free kicks, and corners, because this guy could be on set pieces, assisting goals in that way, adding goals to our game from set piece situations. But also it'd be nice for them to crack off a few long shots from outside the box if we're struggling to break teams down that are playing with a low block. So that's something that Andre Anderson has particularly done well for me on my Manouza save. So player traits then, we'd like him to try killer balls often, play 1-2s, dictate tempo, try long range passes, and switch the ball to the other flank when possible. Then also, guys, like I said, if you can find someone that has good long shots, then I would look for someone who looks to take long shots quite frequently. Regarding player recommendations then, I've mentioned the first one already, Andre Anderson, very good player. Curtis Jones, Evangelos Patolidis, Giovanni Reina, and Orkun Kokchu. So now we come on to the attacking trident at the top end of the pitch for us then, made up of 2 inside forwards on each flank. My instructions are symmetrical, but obviously tailor that to your own teams, guys. You know your players better than I do, so make sure you're playing to their strengths. But in particular, my inside forwards are always on an attack duty. The instructions for them are to take more risks, cross less often, dribble more, cut inside with the ball, and get further forward. If you decide to play your inside forwards on support, they will look for a killer pass before looking for a shot, and I'd usually do that if my inside forwards aren't the best finishers or aren't the most composed players. So just bear that in mind. Some of the attributes that make a really good inside forward, in my opinion, would be composure, which is absolutely vital, decisions, teamwork, flair, technique, finishing, anticipation, off the ball, plus passing and vision if you're looking for your inside forwards to have the ability to bring others into the game also. Some of the really important traits that I've come across would be cuts inside from the respective wing that they're playing on. So personally, I find that the inside forward is obviously best cutting in on their strongest foot. So for example, a right-footed inside forward on the left flank. However, it does work with a right-sided player on the right flank as well. I have had success with both, but they tend to be most successful when they're cutting onto their stronger foot. You also want them to move the ball to their strongest foot before they dribble. That's quite important. So I don't want my left inside forward who's right-footed to be running down the wing on his left foot, because not only is he not strongest on that foot, but also he's then taking up the space in the wide area that I want my wing back to move into. So it's very important to get them to cut inside, guys. So some players I've come across that perform the inside forward role very well would be Brian Mbuemo, Dejan Kulisevsky, Emmanuel Vignato, Grady Diangana, Jamie Yayimpi, Milutin Vidosavljevic, and Evangelos Patolidis. The final piece to the jigsaw in terms of the back attack tactic. Now, I opt for an advanced forward in the striker role here, although a deep line or pressing forward respectively also can be successful. Obviously, the advanced forward only comes on an attack duty. Some of the other roles come with a support, but I run with the advanced forward on attack. Simple instructions, really. I don't think I tweak these at all. Just essentially get further forward and move into the channels when appropriate to create, space for other players and opportunities for other players. Now, some of the attributes that the advanced forward needs to perform this role would be composure, decisions, teamwork, technique, finishing, anticipation, off the ball, plus passing and vision if you are looking for your advanced forward to also be a creative player for your inside forwards and for some of your marauder midfield players, etc. Some of the traits that I find are very useful to have in an advanced forward would be runs with the ball through the centre and likes to beat the offside trap. The offside trap one is actually really important, guys, so I would train that if your advanced forward has good ability off the ball but is also quite athletic, quite quick. I find it catches defences out really well on this FM. Regarding the advanced forward role, some of the players that I've had success with on this Football Manager would be Ahmed Katucu, who actually won the Under-21 Footballer of the Year on my Le Havre save, beating João Felix and Kylian Mbappe to that title. He was very prolific for me. Amin Guri is also a very good player. Gobi Guanu, who won the Revelation of the Year for me on that very same Le Havre save. Fantastic player for me. I actually deployed him off of one of the inside forward roles as well at times. Milutin Vidosavljevic, who I also mentioned previously as an inside forward. He's relatively versatile and can also play in the advanced forward role. And finally, Ryan Brewster, who can also play this role particularly well. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some tactical tweaks you might be able to make in a couple of different given scenarios. With the first one being that you've gone with a lower league save, right? Let's say you've gone with a team quite far down the footballing pyramid. You've not got a lot of technical ability, particularly at the back. So one of the first changes I would recommend if things aren't going your way is to change from ball playing defenders to a more conventional central defender. Secondly, I would say once you've made that change, untick playing out of defence. I think those two things go hand in hand and will particularly help if you're creating your own problems at the back. I know that can happen with some smaller sides, so pay attention to those tweaks if that's happening in game. Finally, something else that might sort of complement those two changes is if you turn off being more expressive. You don't necessarily have to turn on being more disciplined, but you don't particularly have to be expressive, particularly when you're lower down in a footballing pyramid and you're struggling for creativity and technical ability. The second scenario I wanted to discuss with you guys is, regardless of what team you are, you're going to have games when you are really sort of on top of the opposition, you're dominating the game, you've got more possession, you're having lots of shots on goal, lots of shots on target, and it's just the quality of effort isn't quite there. And you are struggling to break down a team playing a low block. Now, first of all, I would say that you can drop your line of engagement slightly, which will encourage teams, or hopefully encourage teams that are playing with a low block to, venture out a little bit more and try and play some football, because we're not suffocating them as much, in their own third. So that's change number one. I would also say that with regards to your, the building of your attacks, you could try working the ball into the box like this, rather than taking shots from the perimeter of the box and being wasteful with chances and killing your own attacks. Really try and work out some goal scoring opportunities of a certain level of quality, and give yourself every chance of scoring a goal because you've worked a high percentage shot, so to speak. Finally, and this depends entirely on your attacking front line, but something that I found kind of confuses defence is if you swap your crossing approach in game. So as standard, the back attack comes with whipped crosses, but I also try low crosses sometimes, essentially low driven passes across the box rather than an actual cross. And I think that can cause some problems sometimes. But like I said, it depends entirely on, the makeup of your attacking front three. I've got a fair amount of aerial ability in this Le Havre team, for example, here. But on other saves, I've had smaller forwards who will benefit from lower crosses into the box. So hopefully those two sets of tactical tweaks will help you guys out if you find yourself in a spot of bother in your own saves. Now, you've heard a lot from me regarding the back attack tactic, and I've had a lot of fun with it, but something that really motivates me is when I see and hear from, other content creators and other members of the FM community telling me about, their experiences with the tactic and the success they're having. So I wanted to dedicate a small part of the video to hearing from some of you guys in the community, really. Without further ado, I'll pass you over to Keegan and Steve, who are here to talk about their experiences and some of the success they've had.
Hey, this is FM Union. I have been using the back attack tactic with Sporting de Gijón in the second league of Spain, and actually with the tactic, I watched his video, it looked very interesting, and in our first season we managed to win the second league with 88 points, just outpacing all the other teams around us. And going into La Liga was going to be tough, but so far, the tactic has given us a great start. We are sitting in a much better position than expected. I really just love the wing play that it provides and the width that it offers. I see so many movements off the ball as well. I think the tactic is just so successful, and we really use the flanks to our advantage and just dominating opposition teams we probably shouldn't be beating. But yeah, I love the tactic. If you haven't checked it out yourself, make sure to. And thank you so much for providing a great tactic for me to use and giving me some success.
Hello everyone, this is Steve from Hood Gaming here. Just wanted to talk you guys through my experience with the back attack formation. I used it as part of a video on my channel where I tested content creators' formations that I found on YouTube. Obviously, the back attack being one of them. I gave the formations the exact same save in terms of the club and the fixtures that they were going to play, and obviously test them out, see who did the best, see who did the worst, and take a look at the final workings of the formation. Okay guys, so the team in question that I gave everyone was Wolverhampton Wanderers for the 2019-2020 season, and as you can see, using the back attack, they ran out Premier League champions, and they also won the Europa League and were runners up in the FA Cup. It was a superb season. They finished the Premier League top by 4 points, beating off competition from Man City, Liverpool and Manchester United that rounded off those Champions League places. In terms of the Europa League and European competition, they absolutely smashed Sporting Lisbon 4-1. It's just phenomenal, the amount of chances and stuff that they created. In terms of formation with Wolves, guys, this is how it kind of looked. I didn't sign anyone in the save, so this is how they ran out in their Europa League final. Patricio, Connor Cody, Willy Bolly, Sayers playing that half-back role, which I feel is quite important in this formation. Armand Traore, Johnny, Jordao, Neves, Neto, Podence, and the main man Raul Jimenez up front. So they almost secured an impressive treble, guys, and throughout the season they played a total of 67 games, winning 47 of those with an impressive win ratio of 70%. Over the course of the season as well, they scored 137 goals and conceded just 60, which is just phenomenal in 67 games. So their goals per game was 2.04 goals per game, and their goals conceded per game in the formation was 0.89. In the video on my channel, this was the best formation. It was the highest finish for Wolves. I couldn't recommend this formation anymore. It's definitely something that I'm going to be using moving forward.
So I just wanted to round things up then by thanking you very much for taking the time out to watch the video. I really do appreciate it, as always. If you do have any questions or general comments, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I'll always get back to you. Maybe you know of a player that would be, particularly successful in the system, or, you've got an idea for a tweak we can make to the tactic. Maybe you just want to share your own story of, where you've had success with the back attack. Either way, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know where you want to take this. Do you want to see any more back attack content, any further videos, or, do you want me to move on to other things? I'm always happy to be led by you guys. Don't forget to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. I'd really like to build on the success of the previous video, which got around 50 likes, I think. And if you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for future FM content. I have big plans for the channel, and I'd love for you to be part of it. And I hope you can support me to sort of make those things a reality, really. Until next time, take care of yourselves, guys. Cheers.